Welcome to Dark Knight Films Reviews and the final versus night. Tonight I will be comparing Breeders from 1986 versus Breeders from 1997. So, let's get started on this one with the leads. Now, the leads in Breeders 1986 consists of Teresa Farley and Lance Lumen. The leads in Breeders 1997 consists of Todd Jensen and Samantha Womack. Now, this one's a pretty easy one for me. Teresa Farley is not a very good actress. She is very wooden. Whereas Samantha Womack in the 1997 film, she's a pretty good little actress. She's believable in her character, and her character ends up getting a moment in there where they're both kind of the heroes that help the male hero in there. Unlike Teresa Farley, who is never really mind controlled by the aliens, Samantha Womack's version of the character is. And then she turns back and becomes good near the end. Teresa doesn't get that, but she might as well have been under their control because of as wooden as her voice is and the way she does her dialogue, you'd think she was under the aliens' control. And Lance Lumen, as the detective in here, he's better than her, but he's nowhere near as good as Todd Jensen as this school professor in here that's your main hero. He's such a snarky little, he's quick-witted, and Todd Jensen was always like that in any film he played in. He always played those snarky, smart-ass characters, kind of like a Tony Stark, kind of a thing, and he did so well with that, and that makes him far more interesting as a character than what Lance Lumen was. So I'm going to give this one to the 1997 version. All right, so let's move on to our next category, which is the creatures. Breeders 1986, the creatures are oddly almost H.R. Geiger inspired, but they are very, very cheaply done creatures. In Breeders 1997, they're full body, excellent creatures in design, but they lose that kind of H.R. Geiger kind of a feel to them. But I don't think that affects that because I didn't think they needed to be alien inspired to begin with. So I didn't feel that hurt the creatures in Breeders. I just think the design of the creatures is far more effective in the 1997 film. So I'm going to give this one to Breeders 1997. All right, so let's move on to story and see if we can get a different outcome here. The story on Breeders 1986 is 5 Manhattan women, supposedly all virgins, are raped by mysterious creatures, after which they become mindless servants to those creatures. Breeders 1997, it follows the same general story, but the film goes in its own direction and feels like it's more of a sequel than an actual remake. For instance, you have the detectives investigating in the original film, and in the 97 version, you have the professor here at this college that is your main guy that's investigating this and everything. So it takes its own spin on it, and I like that. I like the fact that a film doesn't just try to completely remake the film, and if it's unnecessary, don't do it, which I think Breeders 1986, considering how bad some of the performances were in it, it could have been improved by just taking the same story, but 97 did not do that. They took it in a different direction, and you got to respect that. And to me, as much as I do like the 97 version, I do like elements of 86 much better, as far as the creatures summoning the girls to the chamber and everything and all that. That was an iconic moment in here. And I'll move on to something else that I want to talk about that on direction. But yeah, I'm going to give this one to the 1986 film. All right, so let's move on to direction and see if we can get our final winner here. Breeders 1986 was directed by Tim Kincaid, and Breeders 1997 was directed by Paul Matthews. Now, before he directed Breeders, Tim Kincaid was mostly known as a geographic filmmaker. So that's kind of apparent with some of the finale, where you have a lot of these no clothes girls just walking mindlessly to the area, like I said in the story, for the creatures to be able to take them and make them into part of the creature. I mean, that's pretty apparent that he was that kind of a filmmaker, with how not one of these girls was afraid to take her clothes off in this. Whereas Paul Matthews, in directing the 1997 version, he goes a little bit more tasteful in this. You know, you can tell he's more of a filmmaker, and there is some nudity in 97, but not near as much as in the 1986 version. And it depends on what kind of a film you want to watch. If you want to see some naked women, I guess you'd want to watch the 1986 version. But if you want a film that has a little bit more story and a little bit better acting, Paul Matthews does a really good job on his. So I am going to give this one to Breeders 1997 for the final win, with a score of 1, 2, 3. Breeders 1997. What do you think of these two films? Do you agree with my assessment on these? Do you disagree? Let me know in those comments down below. And as usual, if you enjoyed this video, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to click that bell icon so you can be notified about future videos just like this one. And while you're by the subscribe button, click that join button and become a Dark Knight fan. As a Dark Knight Fan Plus member, you have access to an area on the channel right now where you can request a movie, TV series, or ranking video of your choosing. And when that video goes up, it will go up for all Plus members prior to it going up on the channel for all other subscribers. So if you want to get interactive and help me to get more movies on this channel that I might not normally review, become a Plus member. Well, that's the end of another Versus Night. If you missed last week's Versus Night, check out the link up in here. Or if you've missed any of the other Versus Nights, check out our playlist and see anything that you have missed.